John chapter 5, verse 6. John chapter 5, verse 6. When Jesus saw him lying, there's a man, we're talking about the pool of Bethesda, right? Matter of fact, let me go ahead and start with chapter 1 of John 5. It says, after this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool, which is called in Hebrew Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these porches lay a great multitude of sick people, blind, lame, paralyzed, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain time into the pool and stirred up the water. Then whoever stepped in first after the stirring of the water was made well of whatever disease he had. He had. Wow. Now, a certain man was there who had an infirmity 38 years. Now, it's not saying that he was there for 38 years, but he had an infirmity for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had already been in that condition for a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" Let's pause for that for a minute. He says, "Do you want to be made well?" This is not an open-ended question. This is closed-ended, right? In other words, your answer to this question is either yes or no. There's no need for you to elaborate because elaboration is based out of your feelings. Do you want to be made well? I'm not here to discuss who is not doing what for you. I'm not here to discuss your issues and how long y'all had issues. I'm not here for you to vent to me about who is not helping you. I ask one question. Do you want to be made well? Do you want the marriage to work? Do you want to be in a better situation? Close-ended. Yes or no? Jesus comes on the scene, and the guy that's have had this infirmity for 38 years, y'all. 38 years he had this infirmity. For 38 years, that's a long time. 38 years he has this infirmity. And he's waiting for an angel to stir up the water. And Jesus, the miracle worker, the physician, the great physician, he comes on the scene. Sometimes we can get so caught up on what we think we need that what we have been really waiting for has come, and we have not even noticed it because we've been waiting for what everyone else that's in our condition or worse is waiting for. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes we get so caught up on what we think we need that what we have really been waiting for has come, and we have not even noticed it because we've been waiting for what everyone else that is in our condition or worse have been waiting for. Everyone was waiting for the angel, but Jesus have come on the scene, and Jesus comes to the man while the man is waiting for the angel. So the man is in the condition that he's been in for 38 years, and he's surrounded by other people with their condition, and they're all waiting for the same thing, but only one person can benefit from it at a time. And while he is waiting and understanding that he doesn't have the help he need to get the healing he need, the great physician, the healer, the answer to his problem comes directly to him. And Jesus asked a question that I know some of you are like, why did he ask that? That was a crazy question to ask. When you see that this man has been laying here, you know why he's here. Why would you ask him, do you want to be made well? For some of you think that's common sense. It's common sense. But let's get practical. Because this man is not the only man that have been in a condition and needed help and got to the place where help was available and still got the question, well, do you want it to work? Because just because you're here where healing exists, just because you are in the presence of the healer, does not mean that you want what's available. I understand, sir, you're in a toxic environment. I understand where you are is not the best place and that you're not even in the best shape to deal with this. You feel like you don't have anyone to assist you. You feel like you're by yourself. But, sir, just answer the question. Do you want to be made well? Do you want it to work? This is close-ended. This is not up for a discussion. Just answer this question, yes or no. The man has been hurt for so long. The man has been hurt for so long. The man has been hurt for so long, he didn't even know how to articulate what he needed. I'm going to say it again. The man was hurt for so long, he didn't even know how to articulate what he needed. So his answer was, sir, I've been trying. And this is as far as I've gotten because I don't have anyone to help me when the water is stirred. Wow. 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 Sir, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up. But while I am coming, while I am attempting to get there, I'm trying. I don't want you to think that I'm just laying here in a situation and saying, woe is me. Please, sir, I want you to understand that while I am coming, this is verse 7, another man steps down before me. And to that response, Jesus says to him in verse 8, rise, take up your bed and walk. And immediately the man was made well, took up his bed and walked. Now, if you keep reading in this chapter, you will find or discover that this was a big controversy. This was a big controversy. But anyway, Jesus says to him, get up and walk. The man was willing to admit, sir, I've been trying. I just don't have enough help. And I know that some of you listening to this, and you may be in that situation where you're like, you know what? I've been trying. I've tried everything I could do. I've tried everything. Like, I don't even know what else. I've tried. And Jesus is like, listen, do you want it? Because my instructions come based off your answer. Now, if you want it, I'm going to tell you what you got to do. There's some work you got to put in. If you don't want it, I'm not going to force it upon you. I'm not going to force you to want something that you don't want. But if you want it, here's some instructions. Get up. Take up this bed and walk. In other words, get out of this environment that you are, because right now you're associated with other people that have issues and conditions, some not as severe as yours and some that are severe. I need you to get up. I need you to walk. There's some of you that are in situations that you've been in for so long, and to you, you may feel as if you have done everything you can do. To you, you're like, hey, I've tried. I've tried. And I've been trying. And Jesus is not coming to ask you an open-ended question, but a closed-ended question, and that is, do you want it? Do you want your marriage to work? Do you want your business to work? Do you want your family to work? Do you want your ministry to work? Do you want it? I'm not here for you to elaborate and to start going off your feelings and saying, well, I'm only in this condition because, or we are only where we are because. I says, no, do you want it? Is this what you want? Because if you want it, the next thing is I'm going to give you instructions on what to do to receive it. Let me say that again. If you want it, the next thing to follow is going to be instructions on what you need to do in order to receive it. Rise, take up your bed, and walk. If you want it. So for those of you listening, that's your question. Do you want it? Because help is present if you want to be made well. Help is present if you want it to be made well. That's your question for today. Do you want it? Do you want it? Do you want it? Do you want it? Healing comes to those that want it. Deliverance comes to those that want it. Breakthrough comes to those that want it. Forgiveness comes to those that want it. Healing, breakthrough, deliverance. Do you want it? This is not the time to make excuses. This is not the time to elaborate on how you got to where you are. That can be unpacked in your therapy session. Matter of fact, all of you listening, go to Facebook. There's an amazing group called Ask the Therapist. Ask the Therapist. You got great counselors, Michelle Davey, Kimberly Davis, great therapists. If you need to unpack something, right? Like, you can go to that page and you can ask the therapist a question. Listen, how do I deal with childhood trauma? How do I deal with infidelity? How do I deal with, drama on the job? Or, like, that's an amazing platform. And one day I do want to have them to come on, and I want to have them elaborate on what they are offering, because we understand that there's a spiritual component, but there's also a component that's tied to your soul, which is your emotions, your affections, right? Your feelings. I feel. Well, the reality is we all need someone to unpack those feelings. How do we get to that place, right? So make sure y'all go on Facebook. There's an amazing group called Ask the Therapist, and that's going to bless your life. All right, that's all I got. Y'all have an amazing day.